everyone. So we're going to do some yoga together today. My name is Trinity. I do the yoga here at the Wellness Center, and just want to really invite people maybe who haven't done the practice with us before to join in, to not be afraid of this word of yoga. That it's just going to be some really nice gentle movements to help open blood flow and calm the system. And so there's a lot of really great benefits. And I wanted to lay some of the principles so that we have the best opportunity towards success with the practice and the movements. And one of those principles is being present to what's actually happening in our system today. So for each one of us, we just want to take a moment, and we want to do this throughout the practice, to just be present to what our unique situation is. We each are dealing with different things in our body, different kinds of tension, different kinds of mobility, different kinds of capacities. And so for the practice to be most beneficial, then we're going to want to be really present to what's actually in our system, so that whatever we do, we can kind of adjust it towards the greatest benefit for where we're actually at. So when we start, we're often just going to start in a seated position. So you can take a moment to bring yourself onto a chair, or if you're sitting on more like a couch or something more soft, I'm going to invite you to come a little forward, so you're not leaning back, of course, just if that's possible for what's happening in your body. Again, I want to really encourage everyone that these movements can be adapted for many different situations. So we're going to come into a comfortable seated position, and we're just going to let ourselves arrive for a moment. So this sense of just landing. We can take a moment and feel the feet touching the ground, and just notice however our feet feel today. Feel our sit bones touching the support beneath us, and just notice how that contact feels. And then notice how it feels to be upright. So the chest and the head lifting upwards. Moment to feel yourself get comfortable in this position. And then we're going to just do a really simple, just little lift of the shoulders. So let the shoulders lift, and then let them settle and drop. And let them lift. Notice what your breath does when the shoulders lift, and then when the shoulders release. Just a few more times, and we're doing this movement as part of that principle of just arriving and centering or presencing to what's happening in our body. So you can do that a few times. Just lift and settle, and then just notice what's happening in your shoulders. You might just do one side and then let it go. Notice the feeling through the arm to the other side. Let it go. Notice the feeling through that arm. Again, we're just wanting to feel into the chest, into the shoulder, and start to get the breath and the body moving a little bit in synchronicity together. So there's a sense of linking awareness and movement and breath. Very simple, but it starts to create a rhythm and a gentle opening in the body. So just do that one more time. Again, your movement might look quite different or even feel quite different. And then just settle. Notice your chest, your shoulders. We're going to take one of our arms, and we're just going to bring it down. And down is a really nice movement for the arm, because it helps the shoulder relax. And one of the patterns of tension and stress is that the shoulder starts to lift up and pull forward. So often in the practice, what we want to encourage is the shoulder to drop down, and we want to start to open this front part and kind of tone the back part. So if we let the arm come down and we let it move back a little bit, all of this area is connected to the lungs, and so it's part of our immune system, so we want to keep that open. So just let that extend into your fingertips, the amount that feels good to you. Feel into the arms. Feel your shoulder blade drop down the back and your shoulders stay relaxed. And then turn your hand over and just press down. When you press, I want you to kind of lift your fingertips and feel the muscles hug to the bone. You can do that as soft or as dynamic as feels good to you. And then you're just going to let the arm relax. And again, just take a moment and feel if you have any new sensation through that side. Kind of emptying out tension. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take the arm and we're going to reach it down and feel how cool down is, because it allows the shoulder not to creep up and creep forward, but to settle down. And then we're going to open the palms, so you spread a little into your palm. Again, you can do any of these very soft, or you can do them a little more dynamic. You're going to let the hand a little bit press back, so your shoulder blade hugs towards the spine and the back. And this area right here, you might even bring your hand there and just feel from the clavicle bone, the top of the chest here, the upper lung. We're opening the lung points. We're opening our immune system and our capacity for breath. And just feel the appropriate amount of engagement in there for you. And then let it go. You're going to turn the palm down, and when you press down, again, you're rooting the shoulder and the palm, but lifting the fingers a little bit. And again, you can do that soft, or you can really hug the muscle to the bone and start to get the arm waking up. And then release the palm onto the leg, or wherever it's comfortable, to just relax for a moment and notice the feeling on that side that we just did. And notice if there's any change in your breath. And we're going to do it together with both arms. So just start soft. Just let your arms come down. As your arms come down, look for a lift here in the center of the chest. So your arms sink, but your chest lifts. Your shoulders sink, but then we're going to give a little more energy. Extend out into your fingertips like radiant sun, like you are really reaching into the fingertips, and start to hug your shoulder blades back a little bit so the arms press back. And you're moving into a tone where the muscles are hugging to the bone, and maybe that helps open your breath. So feel the enlivenment that happens there. Maybe you get a little bit more straight and tall through your spine for a moment, and then just let that relax, let that soften. We're going to bend the elbow, we're going to turn the palms, and we're going to press down. And again, your down might be here where the shoulder stays relaxed, the crown and the chest stays a little lifted, and then you might go even a little bit more if that feels okay, where you start to press the palms down, the shoulders down, lift the fingers, and again, it's a different variation of muscle hugging to bone, but we're opening. And then here, if it feels okay, you're going to gather your heels of your palms back so your shoulder blades come a little closer to each other, and then you're going to soften that. Just let the arms come forward. Let them float forward just a little bit or a little bit more. And then sink and root through the palms. Gather the shoulder blades back, soften that, release it. And so it's a little pulse, and it's according to your rhythm and the feeling in your body. So as you press down, the muscles taut, the ligaments taut, and you get some new enlivenment of circulation. And then when you soften that, you just release any holding in the arm. And we're going to do that just another cycle or two. And notice sometimes we use this principle called like 70% effort, where we're not giving everything to it. We soften up the movement. Like, watch, if I softened it up, I would be kind of soft here and even a little bit soft here. And that helps the body not go into a tension pattern, and it helps the deep fluids in the body circulate better. And it helps the nervous system drop out of stress response and into ease. So you might try that. And then sometimes you'll notice, oh wow, my body really needs more engagement. So you can root a little bit more, create a little more tone, but see if you can do that without adding stress. So we want to keep a calmness and ease in the action. And then we're just going to let the arms relax. And again, maybe there's a little movement in your shoulders, a little shrug. So the other principle that if it's possible for your body, we want to do in these movements is we want to encourage ourselves to breathe through our nose. And of course, if you have a condition or a situation where you can't breathe through your nose, then that's just what you even don't worry about that. But if you can, when we breathe through our nose, it activates a little bit more the lower lungs and the diaphragm. And that kind of a breath is helping our nervous system move out of the stress response. So it's calming and centering us in this rest and digest part of our nervous system, which allows everything to work on our physiology a little bit better. Whereas the mouth breathing is a little bit more connected to the upper lungs. And so if we are breathing through our mouth, we'll still want to kind of see if we can settle our breath down a little bit, calm our breath down. But if you breathe through your nose, just try that a few cycles. Let your tongue stay on the roof of your mouth. And notice when you do that, any adjustment to your posture. You might have to, if your chin is really lifted, you might have to drop it. If your chin is really dropped, you might have to lift it. So your head is like balanced right on over your chest. And you're just simply taking a few breaths through your nose, and your tongue is just resting on the roof of your mouth. So just try that if that feels comfortable. So a lot of side benefits for breathing in this way. And then we're going to take a moment to feel the whole spine, feel the head in relationship to the spine, and just turn the head a little bit to one side, either direction, and notice how close your chin comes to your shoulder. It doesn't have to go very far. Just go to that side and then back to center. And just keep that nice kind of evenness and flow in your breath. Come to the other side. Notice if you can feel the connection of the movement in your neck with your upper back, with your chest. Really easy movement from one side and then back to center. And then we're going to do a different movement with the neck where we're going to drop one ear to the shoulder. The opposite ear actually lifts up. So and again, it doesn't matter how far you can go. It's more about what it feels like on the inside for you, and you're just giving an opportunity for some mobility that we might otherwise not get to open up. So just a little lift. The opposite ear will drop. The opposite ear will kind of lift up. Your shoulders relax. Keep yourself really steady in your pelvis and grounded in your legs. And then just coming back to center. We're going to do that same movement again. Feel the balance of your head. Just turn your head to the side. Notice how far it goes. Is it the same? Is it less? Is it more? Come back to center. The other side. Keep your shoulders relaxed. See if you can just let whatever your breathing is that's naturally happened, keep coming rhythmic and easeful as much as possible. Back to center. And then we're going to drop the ear to the shoulder. Lift the other ear a little bit, so we're opening the side of the neck. Dropping the other ear, lifting the other side, create a little space there. And then the next movement, again, you want to notice when you come to center where center feels like. So usually we have to, if we lift through the crown of the head, we drop the chin a little bit, because a lot of us tend to work and around with our chin quite lifted, and that closes the back of the neck. So if we drop the chin a little bit, we open the back of the neck. So feel that movement, just a simple settling of your chin, and you want it to feel really good at the back of the neck. You're going long and tall through the back of the neck. You might even feel that into your upper back, and then you come back and you just let your head rest. And then you don't want to crunch the back of the neck, but you want to lift slightly the chin. And now we're opening through the front of the throat. And then you come back to center. I'm going to just do that one more time. And again, according to what's feeling in your body, drop the chin, feel the back of the neck lift and open. Come back to center, lift the chin. And come back to center. And again, notice where center feels like, if your head is really balanced on your spine. And this last movement we're going to do for the neck, we imagine again that the crown of the head is lifting and we have a circle right above our head, kind of like a halo or something. There's a circle. So we're not dropping our head, but we're going to do a little circle. And you're going to do that slowly so that you can make sure that it feels good all along the pathway of that movement. And you're also able to breathe in an even way, and that we're letting the movement be slow and smooth. You can let your eyes just be naturally open, or if it feels better to close your eyes, you can close your eyes. And then when you're ready, nice and smooth, slow movement, circling the crown of the head like you were tracing a halo or a circle right above you. Notice what happens to your breath. Can you keep the shoulders relaxed? Can you feel the breath making its way more into the belly? Can you stay really grounded at the base? And then your head is going to come and just rest on your spine. Just see if you notice anything different. Particularly notice if there's anything positive new sensation, but maybe there's some challenging sensation that also got stirred up. And if that's the case, then we just also want to notice that and see if we can relax with whatever is present, with whatever got stirred up. So the next movement, we're going to come down more into the lower body. So you're going to take one of your legs either side and bring it up towards you. And you're going to be rocking yourself a little forward and a little back. So when you do this, notice what the feeling is in your shoulder and in your arm, so that you're not straining the shoulder, the elbow, the arm, and you're just tuning into the hip on the side of the knee that's coming up, and you're just seeing if you can get it to open up a little bit, to just move in a way that feels good. We can do this simple action of rocking a little forward, rocking a little back, or if you like, you could try rocking a little bit to one side and to the other. You want to kind of juice up the space, the hip socket, kind of open up through the movement a little bit of more hydration in the tissues around the hip. So we're just listening to what might feel good. You could also do like a little circle, or you could do any way of moving there that feels good for you on your hip on this side. And also notice how it's feeling to your shoulders, to your neck, to your back, and if you could make any adjustment that would just allow the whole thing to feel good in your system. So you can get creative. You could use more your arms to do it and your legs, or you can use more your spine. And then we're going to take that leg and we're going to extend it down onto the floor, where you're reaching through your heel and drawing your toes towards you and kind of spreading out through the sole of your foot. Feel the muscles waking up back to the knee and to the hip, and root through your hip, and then point your toes. Do that a few times, pointing and flexing through your ankle, and again, according to what it feels like in your body. And when you point, notice how the muscles change, how they organize up through the knee and through the hip. Again, you want to pay attention to make sure it feels good in your body, that you're not overriding any resistance or pain, so that you're staying within a range of motion that feels good. So you'll get the most benefit if we do that. And then we're going to just pause for a moment with the leg long. You're rooting a little through the heel. Again, you can keep it more of a soft action or a more dynamic action, a little more hugging muscle to bone. And then we're going to either reach the arm down, so we have this same arm, same leg reach, or you could bring the arm up and let the elbow drop down, or you could reach all the way up with the arm. So any of those variations that feels good. See if you can get that nice extension both through your arm and through your leg. And open up the flow of your breath, and then release the arm, release the leg. And before we do the other side, we're just going to let ourselves rock a little bit on our pelvis. And as you do that, you're just letting your attention settle down to the base of your spine and to your pelvis. And you can rock a little side to side, you could rock a little forward and back, you could do a little circles. Same way, feel that relationship from one side, the sit bone, to the other side, from the front of the pelvis to the back of the pelvis, and how that's setting up the foundation for the spine and the torso that lifts out of the pelvis, but it's also part of the foundation that then the thigh bones are coming out of. And we're just wanting to open up a little bit more circulation in that area. And then come when you're ready to just stay upright center. Notice how that feels. Before we do the other side leg, we're going to take the arms again down. Reach down. You can be more soft, or you can wake that up. Really reach into the fingertips, gather back. If that feels good, you can just stay with that, or again, we can do what we just did where we bring the arms up. You could keep the elbows lower if you need for your shoulders, or you could lift into your fingertips, but try to keep the shoulders down. So rather than lifting the shoulders when the hands lift, keep the shoulders dropping, and then if you want, you could also go long, if that feels good. Any of those variations, a nice reach, and then we're going to bring our arms down and take our feet wherever they're comfortable to come forward for a moment. So make sure you have a nice placement in the feet where you have a nice connection through the ankle to the knee to the hip. Nice balance, and then you're letting your spine pour forward. And you might just go a tiny bit forward, drop your chin, see how that feels on your spine. If you want to, you can go as forward as you like. You might come all the way down to rest your belly on your thighs, but you might just go a tiny bit, depending on what you're noticing. Again, see if you can find a zone that feels really comfortable and steady, and that allows a good feeling in your breath. Take just another moment or two there. When you come up, notice the best way for your system to come up. Usually we want to use a little bit the belly muscles to help lift the spine back up. And then we're just going to come and sit again and see if we notice any change of how we're feeling. If in any of these movements we get a little dizziness or we feel a little imbalance, then we just take a moment and a little maybe extra moment to pause. So just coming back to noticing any new sensation, any new quality in your breath. And then we're going to do the same sequence on the other side. So your opposite knee is going to pull up, and we're going to notice how we can hold the knee in that allows the shoulders to release. So the shoulder blades want to keep setting down the back, the front of the chest wants to keep opening, and we're just going to rock a little bit here with the knee, the thigh, the hip. And just getting curious, what are you noticing on this side? Maybe you just hold the knee and you rest. Maybe you rock forward and back, or maybe you rock in and out. This side feel similar? Does it feel different than the other side? Maybe you circle. Again, maybe it feels best for you to move with the whole spine and pelvis and shoulders, or maybe it feels good to move the knee kind of on its own. Notice that we're wanting to wake up the muscles, but we're not wanting them to harden. So there's kind of a discernment that we develop where we get things enlivening. It's like a dynamic relaxation in the body that optimizes the flow of circulation in the tissues, because the constriction actually kind of closes that flow. So we're a dynamic relaxation that's very alive, but it's not so tight that it's constricting. And that also helps, again, the nervous system drop out of a stress response, and we start to get a lot more oxygen through the transfer of our blood, our lungs into our blood, into our tissues. So we're going for that kind of dropping out of stress response. Okay, so then the leg's going to come down and it's going to reach. Get a really nice reach where you can start to feel the muscles hug the bones, the appropriate amount for you, and then point through the toes. And notice when you do that, you'll do that a few times at your own pace. You're going to reach through the heel, draw the toes towards you, feel the engagement of muscles to the knee and to the hip. And then if you point the toes, it's a different pattern of musculature that activates from the knee to the hip. Okay, so do that, just another cycle. You can let it feel good all the way through the leg. You're getting curious, how can this action feel good? And then you're going to stabilize with pressing the heel, lifting the toes. You're going to bring the arm to the side. So again, we're going to maybe let ourselves sit up just a little bit more, as long as that doesn't strain anything. Just get a little more wakeful through the arm and through the leg at the same time, through that whole side. And if it feels okay, you might lift your hand, or if you can relax the shoulder, you could even lift the elbow, or you could go all the way up with your arm really tall and long. Just take another breath there to feel equal activation, arm and leg, and then we're bringing the arm and leg down. And just take a moment again to come back to center, where you could just be still for a moment, or you could just feel, is there any obvious movement that your body's looking for to integrate that? Maybe a little rocking in the pelvis. Great. And then one more time. Once you are ready, we'll take the arms down. Feel that like a soft action at first. Everything's soft, muscle to bone. And then feel when you activate that instead of it being a constrictive activation, you want the activation to feel like it opens space in the body. So we get curious, like how could we give more energy into the arms, where you get a hugging of the muscle to the bone, but it starts to open the joints. So there's more space under the armpit, there's space in the elbow, in the wrist, in the fingertips, so we're really wakeful of space. And then you could just release that, do it again, or you could bring your arms up. Feel the elbows sink back, feel the shoulder blades wake up, or you could go tall. Find the variation that feels absolutely fantastic in your body. Bring your arms down, and then when you're ready, let the upper body settle forward again. Again, it doesn't matter how far you go, it matters how it feels, and we're wanting it to actually feel good. So sinking into your breath and settling forward for a few breaths. Your time. When you're ready, gradually bring your spine back up. Okay, so we're going to do one more movement today before we complete our session. So I'm going to have you come to standing, and in order for this movement, I'm going to use this chair, and I'm going to turn it this way so you can see me. But as long as you have something like a chair or a table or a countertop or a stool that you could have your hands on, that's a comfortable height where your shoulders again can kind of stay relaxed and stay down. And you're just going to come up for a moment and come behind your chair. And then just take one more time here to reach through the arms, reach down, feel that little waking up of the shoulder blades. Again, you could lift the arms, you could go tall for a moment if you like. Take a nice full breath in through your nose, and then let your arms come down. Bring your hands onto the chair, and you're going to just step your feet back. This is a little funny. Okay, step your feet back so that you can have some nice distance from the chair to your hips. You want to keep a sense of the shoulder blades, again, dropping down the back and spiraling a little bit out. And then you want to let your chin drop so you have a really nice length through the crown of the head. You might take a moment and see if you can wake up your feet a little bit, maybe spread the toes or grab the floor with your toes so you get a really nice stacking. Ankle, knee to hip. Wrists, elbow to shoulder, and then opening gently through the spine. You can get that feeling that from the tailbone through the crown of the head, there's a really nice extension happening that feels the best for your body. Really nice open length. And then when you feel like that's good enough for you, you can come forward and just stand for a moment. You might even shake it out a little bit if it would feel good to shake. might be a good movement for you to actually do again a few times. We're coming to the end of our time together today, so hopefully see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and stay well.